But that was basically when you think of the ghetto as a substantial section of town. The forced labor camp was basically a one street that was surrounded with barbed wire and other, or maybe two streets. And most of the people worked, were taken out from there to work in various jobs. I didn't do anything. I was there with my mother, and as a matter of fact, my mother had saved two other children from whose parents were shipped out in 42. Two children had been left, and she took them in. So we ended up then in one half room, I think, with two other children yet. And but life still, given what was to follow, was still more or less livable, but under very difficult circumstances. Here the killing increased. Every so often anybody tried to escape, there would be executions and beatings and other things. The worst thing that happened in that camp was towards the end, when I think it was in 43 or the beginning of 44, and my dates are wrong, when there was another selection. Basically, when people were shipped off to be killed, what happened there was that they lined us up on sort of like a playground and separated all the children. And that became the famous massacre of the children in Kielce. I was the only one to survive, at least of the group that was visible. Two other children saved themselves by hiding in the house where the children were taken. But what happened there was that the children who were taken out were taken to a cemetery and killed with hand grenades, the Jewish cemetery in Kielce. I survived that one. But that was the worst part in that episode.
How did you survive?
Very curious. They had us lined up on the field. The commander of the camp was standing in the middle, making the decision who was going to live and who was going to die. And they tried to pull me out, and my mother and father more or less pulled the other direction. And finally my mother, my father, and I went up to the German commander, and I said in German to let me live because I could work. And in German. And I think what I saw happen in camps a number of times was that they were somehow shocked to find that somebody looked very much like their own children, who spoke the same language the way their own children would speak. It was there. I think they believed a lot of their own propaganda. And he looked at me and said in German, "Well, let's see," and let me go. The whole thing may have lasted 2 seconds. And that's how I stayed.